What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Citizen JV, and today I want to talk about Ghost of Yotei. And first and foremost, I'm loving this game. I have never been so invested into an open world game, much like that other open worlds games. I would say much like like Skyrim or Ghost of Tsushima or any other open world that you could possibly think or provide for yourself to play. Now, what I will say, I love the stealth. I love the combat and everything else in between. Okay. And this game, I feel like, is more of not just of a revenge story, but it's a little bit of a redemption story at the same time, in a way. Because I recently went through a quest line which was pretentiously long. It was the Kitsune quest line. But I was very, very excited about it because, it was the way how the puzzle solving was along the way, searching for clues, and just how this game really provides a very sense of unique of exploration when it comes to doing certain things in a matter of a quest line, much like what I just previously talked about here. And so here's the thing. There is nothing wrong with this game. I always thought that this was nothing but a copy and paste to Ghost of Tsushima. In a way, it kind of is. But at the same time, in a huge layout as this game is, it's really not as well. Because I really think when it comes to with the stances, along with the Odachi, or with the dual katanas, and the Kusarigama, and so with all these weapons that you are able to provide for Atsu is very, very unique. And I want to explain this here as much as I can because I'm not using this weapon in this video right now because I'm just talking about basically my experiences along with the weapon experiences that I have been able to really delve into this game, okay? And so I would say, so far, the dual katanas have always been my main. I have always loved katanas. I think that they have so much damage control when it comes to, like going up against maybe more than one enemy per se. Now, here's one thing I will say. There's one thing I did notice when it comes to, switching between the Adachi or the Kusarigama, or the dual katanas or the Yari, which is basically a polearm. It's a long spear. It's pretty much what it is. So again, with each of these weapons that you switch between for Atsu, in a way, they do still represent, much like from, Ghost of Tsushima, from, like with the wind stance, the water stance, because with the Kusarigama, is that is basically entailed for the shields, again, the shield enemies in this game. And that is basically the shield stance, if you think about it. And that's what's so cool about this. So the question is, I would say, would you say that they totally eliminated the stances from Tsushima, or did they actually secretly still have that implemented, but only through the different types of weaponry in Ghost of Yotei? Think about that. Now, I really think that's a really good analogy coming from my own perspective on that, is because I've noticed so many different ways of the stances from these different types of weapons in this game and how they are utilized to a certain type of stance. And that is one thing I think that Ghost of Yotei implements very significantly and magnificently well done as well. Now, let's talk about the world in this game. The world in this game is breathtaking. It's beautiful. I think it definitely takes the cake from Tsushima in so many ways because, it's the exploration. You are able to do certain stuff as well. It has like a little bit of a card system to where once you have that specific card, especially for like the Sato twins or the Oni, or the Kitsune, all these different parts of these Yotei 6 enemies in this game, it'll tell you where they were initially or where they are in a specific region of the map. And that is one thing I really love about this game, because it's actually initially giving you a little bit of a RPG element surprise to it, which is awesome. I love that. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the exploration a little bit more here, because I kind of went off just a little bit here. I feel like the exploration in this game is far more exponentially from the first one. And what I mean by that, it's much deeper in scope. It's giving you a lot of more significance of, okay, where exactly do I want to really branch off? And where I want to go? Whether do I want to just explore, or do I want to like do certain types of quests, or maybe possibly bounties? Now, there is another thing that this game does well too, is the bounty system. The bounty system is kind of like the card system a little bit though too, especially when you know where they're going to be, especially on the map, as I previously mentioned as well, which is really, really cool, because I think that this game it's top notch. There's no question about it, because Sucker Punch has a very strong pedigree when it comes to really entailing a very breathtaking story along with a natural and beautiful world like Ghost of Yotei and Ghost of Tsushima, coming from, from the infamous games, and then, before then they had the Sly Cooper games, which were a stealth series as well, which were fantastic, by the way. But again, I think that's where, coming from those games from the past, and, bridging the gap from those games to what we have now from Sucker Punch with Ghost of Yotei and Ghost of Tsushima, like I said again, this company, they know what they're doing when it comes to quality. This game is the highest quality of game I've ever played ever since from Tsushima, or even from Machine Games from Bethesda Softworks at Xbox with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I played earlier this year when it came to PlayStation 5. I absolutely love that game. It was fantastic. And so all I can say is this, ladies and gentlemen. I think that if you really want a game that's really going to coincide along with a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima combat mechanics, the world, and the exploration that this game really involves, I think the $75 is worth it for this game. I do. Because, I know that people are going to be, in the crux of having that debated thing or bated breath and saying, well, do I really want to afford the $75, or even getting the digital deluxe edition for $80, but even then, I still think that you're still getting your bang for your buck for this game. I really, really do, because I'm telling you, this game is nothing but an utter blast. And so, it's like I said before, with the Kasune questline that I previously talked about, though, too, there was a moment in that questline to where I was just like, what the fuck? It was like an oh my god moment, to where it felt like a movie kind of like The Usual Suspects, but either or, I'm not going to spoil it here. So anyways, to much further ado, this is Citizen JV. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a good, fantastic week, and I'll chat with you guys later. Peace.